Imagine standing in front of a laptop that feels like a portal to your imagination, a machine that promises to make your day brighter, faster, and more efficient. What if the device you buy today could keep up with your creative flow, your video editing, your coding sessions, and your spontaneous design brainstorming, all without breaking a sweat? That's exactly what Apple's 15-inch MacBook Pro with a 2.2 GHz Intel Core i7, 16 gigabytes of memory, and a 256 GB SSD is supposed to deliver. And today we're going to see if it lives up to that promise. The problem in the market today is simple. Laptops are either thin and light but underpowered, or they're powerful but heavy and bulky. Designers, developers, and video editors alike have complained about batteries that die in the middle of a render, displays that misrepresent colors, and keyboards that don't feel stable. Plus, the rising cost of top-tier configurations pushes many professionals to compromise. So the question becomes, can a mid-range MacBook Pro strike the right balance between performance, portability, and affordability? First impressions start with the chassis. The silver aluminum unibody feels sturdy, yet surprisingly lightweight for a 15-inch model. The hinge feels robust. It opens and closes with a satisfying clack, and the lid lifts smoothly without wobbling. The trackpad is the hallmark Force Touch design. Tactile feedback, pressure sensitivity, and gesture controls all in one. The keyboard, though not the most comfortable for heavy typists, still offers a decent typing experience with good key travel and a backlight that reads well in low light. The display is arguably the star. A 15-inch Retina panel at 2880 by 1800 resolution offers crisp text and vibrant colors. Apple's True Tone technology automatically adjusts the white balance to match ambient lighting, which reduces eye strain during long sessions. Whether you're editing photos or watching movies, the contrast and brightness levels feel just right, and the color gamut covers P3, which is essential for graphic designers. The Touch Bar is a unique addition, a thin OLED strip that replaces the function keys with context-sensitive controls. For video editors, the Touch Bar provides quick access to editing tools. For coders, it offers shortcuts to code completion and refactoring. And Touch ID right on the power button means you can unlock the machine, authorize purchases, and sign into apps with just a fingertip, making the experience seamless. Under the hood, the 2 GHz Intel Core i7 is a 4-core processor, which may not be the latest chip, but it performs admirably for everyday tasks and moderate creative workloads. With 16 gigabytes of RAM, you can have multiple applications open without significant slowdown. Think Photoshop, a web browser with several tabs, a virtual machine, and a music production suite all running concurrently. The 256 GB SSD is fast, but it's a tight space if you need to store large video files or 3D assets. However, the machine's Thunderbolt 3 ports give you a shortcut to external storage and displays. Graphics-wise, the Radeon Pro 555X with 4 GB of VRAM is a mid-tier GPU that strikes a solid balance for creative professionals. It handles 4K video editing, moderate 3D rendering, and even some light gaming with ease. For basic tasks, the integrated Intel UHD graphics 630 keeps the machine energy efficient. The 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports are a big plus. They allow you to connect external displays, a high-speed SSD dock, and even a USB-C hub, all while maintaining high bandwidth and charging capability. The battery life, advertised at up to 10 hours, lives up to expectations during standard office work, browsing, and streaming. When you run a heavy render or edit a 4K clip, the battery dips faster, but that's to be expected from any machine of this class. Still, the ability to stay unplugged for a full day is a major selling point, especially for travelers. Let's talk about real-world testing. I opened up my MacBook Pro with a full Adobe Creative Cloud suite installed, along with a handful of browser tabs and a virtual environment for coding. I started editing a 4K video clip, and the system responded with minimal lag. The GPU handled the preview smoothly, and the playback was buttery. Switching between Premiere Pro and After Effects felt fluid. The Touch Bar gave me quick access to keyframe adjustments, which sped up the workflow by a couple of minutes per project. In Photoshop, loading a 30-megapixel image took just a second, and applying filters or layers didn't introduce any noticeable slowdown. During a coding session, I launched VS Code with several extensions, a Docker container, and a local database. The 16 gigabytes of RAM was more than enough to keep everything humming. The system maintained a steady frame rate even while I debugged multi-threaded code. I also tested the wireless performance by streaming a video over 802.11 AC, and the connection was stable with negligible buffering, which is great for remote work. However, the machine has its trade-offs. The 256 GB SSD quickly fills up if you're storing large media files. You'll need an external drive or a cloud solution. The keyboard, while decent, isn't as responsive as some newer models. And the processor, while capable, is not the latest generation, so it may not handle the newest AI-intensive applications as smoothly. The price point sits just above the base model, but for many professionals, the additional RAM and storage justify the extra cost. When comparing this MacBook Pro to its competitors, it stands out for its combination of performance and portability. Windows laptops like the Dell XPS 15 and the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme offer comparable specs, but they often lack the refined build quality and ecosystem integration that Apple provides. The MacBook Pro's macOS gives developers a Unix-like environment, while designers benefit from native applications like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. On the other hand, if you're on a tighter budget or need more raw processing power, a newer Intel-based or even a high-end AMD laptop might give you better performance for the same price. In conclusion, this 15-inch MacBook Pro delivers on most fronts: a stunning Retina display, a responsive touch bar, solid graphics for creative work, and an impressive battery life for mobile use. It's an excellent choice for designers, videographers, and developers who rely on macOS and value an ecosystem that keeps everything working together seamlessly. If you're willing to manage storage space and don't need the absolute latest CPU, this model offers a sweet spot between performance, portability, and price.